Good morning. Thursday, the 20th of August 2020, St Albans, Hertfordshire, England. After virtually a whole solid day of rain yesterday, and through the night, we now have this. And the wind's dropped, and I gather there's a serious whistly wind coming in into Western Ireland through the day. Anyway, Alia Jacta est, which being translated meaneth, the die is cast. So, hear me, mates. A couple of old rooks or something. Unfortunately, this poor old leg of mine, I've got to just watch out how I behave. Oh, it's a hard life. You mustn't weaken. Well, count your blessings. One of my biggest blessings is that I have come from such a solid, stable, normal, elderly gentlefolk, middle-class background. This is one of the things that has given me the strength to essentially go off and have these adventures, if you like, all around the world. Give me some rest, 3 nights in a place, some food, and generally I perk up again. With any luck. I've got to do this lying back thing because if I bend my left knee at the moment, it is a wreck. I'm literally having to hop about peg leg, one leg, and that hurts. Anyway, enough of that. I'm moving today to Harpenden. All things being equal, I will be there safely by tonight, this very night. This, of course, is Jesu Joy of Man's Desiring by a certain Mr. Bach, J.S. Bach, Johann Sebastian, no less. I'm a Beethoven fan. Apparently you're either Bach or Beethoven. Well, I have to concede that Bach did write some good stuff, but I'm afraid I find him a bit twiddly and sort of so, whereas Beethoven, on the other hand, is Beethoven. Just short of 10 months I've been here, virtually a year, quite frankly. Last year, this time, I was sleeping out in the porch of the Baptist church, and the year before, I was in jolly old Watford General Hospital, 19 nights, no less, with pneumonia, acute heart failure, well, that'll do, and the rest. I was a worn-out old bunny, basically, I'm afraid, and I probably still am. Still, I think it's just slightly, English understatement here, better than being in Lebanon at the moment, or Syria, or Yemen, or pick a country, quite frankly. This green and pleasant land of ours. My difficulty is, as now a fully grown man, I again will be 64 in whenever, a couple of weeks' time, but more than that, I think. Providing I make it. And if my generation, I am still, my spirit isn't old yet at 64. I mean, Mr. Joe Biden running for president of the United States of America at 78? Oh, please. Come on, that's getting old, man. He'll be over 80 if he were president. 82, isn't it? 4-year term? Oh, please. There must be something in this there. And yet everyone's saying that the current incumbent, quite frankly, isn't up to the job. Everyone I hear, anyway. Oh, those little birdies. I love music. It really does. It is food for the soul. my way of trying, I was looking at to fix all this lot, to do something about it, and looking at one of my old films. So I think 11 years ago, I've been making these films for over 12 years now. I've got over 3,000 of them up on now 5 channels on YouTube. And I was speaking of the kingdom of heaven, and where is it, and such like. And I read a passage from one of the Gospels, and Christ says, it's not out there, it's not out in the world, the kingdom of God is within you. You see. Now, the man I love, St. Francis of Assisi, and I always mention the Poor Clares, because God put 2 beautiful souls, a man and a woman, in Assisi, Umbria, sort of northwest, and those beautiful volcanic mountains. On Monte Sabazio is the big mountain behind Assisi. St. Francis's dates are 1182 to 1226, so he lived only to the age of 44. Clare, on the other hand, lived on. She lived, I think, to 60, but the Clares are an enclosed order. But she was a very fine spirit too, much lesser known, I suppose. Obviously, I suppose, but none the worse for that. I went and looked at her church. They build these extraordinary buildings in Italy. They really do architecture. So Basilica Santa Chiara in Assisi, and down in the Undercroft, there's some relics of hers, and there's this dress. So he must have been a really tall woman. So they're entirely enclosed. They don't go out into the world at all. They just pray and presumably tend the garden and grow vegetables and the like and pray. So it's a very specific calling with a long novitiate. So, you can't just run away to the monastery, as it were, if you've a young girl who's with a child or something, that sort of thing. You have to really be sure that that is your calling. And there it was. And then also there was St. Francis's Book of Hours, I think it's called. So like a prayer book. I think leather bound. And wasn't it so clean? I look at my old Bible and it's a wreck. And that's only been with me got it in Holland in, I think, 2001 or 2, maybe 1. But it's been around the world with me. Oh, here's Robin. You can see him. Cheeky little fellow. They settled on digestive biscuits. Here he is. Come on, Bobby. Come on. I tried wild bird seed, and it was a bit tough for them, whereas the jolly old digestives just disappear. If I pop in for a half hour, it's all gone. Mr. Cheeky. Oh. And the lovely thing is they've got this beautiful tree here. It's a sycamore. I'm actually surrounded by beautiful trees. That's a mountain ash and so on, to hop and skip off into, and then they sit up there and sort of scent the air in case there's a big birdie around. And that pecking order thing really does work. If there's a little fella in and then one of the bigger ones turns up, the bigger one gets into the food first. So, ramble, count your blessings. Well, my dear old mum used to feed the robin. Robin used to come right into the kitchen. Where's your breakfast? Mother was well trained. The same as me, basically. Really, I feel guilty if I can't sit here and have my coffee and whatever until I've fed the birdies, actually. The same with one's animals. I always used to feed. I had beautiful German Shepherd dogs. And you're meant to eat yourself, so the dogs sort of see you eating, and they, old Pavlov dog syndrome kicks in, so they start salivating and they feel hungry and so on. But I always fed my animals first. My dogs were always fed first, and ditto for horses I've had. Especially my last one, Naomi Nara from Desert Arabs. Nara was a desert Arab. One of the 4, I believe, who came over originally, so very well bred. As were my dogs. Unlike me, I'm the ringer. I'm just an old mongrel, middle-class mongrel. My animals always get fed first. Right. Catch you later, I think, really. I'm all packed and ready. I used to have this great aunt, my mother's level of aunt, Aunt Enid, and because I had a Scottish missionary ancestor, I'm actually a white African born in Cape Town, so, there. Jolly old leg, slowing me down at the moment, jolly D. So then mother brought us back to England anyway. I've lived much of my life in London, or the longest anyway, but they'd come over from South Africa, my mother's sister Patty, and and then Aunt Enid. And Aunt Enid knew my mother. You see, my mother with time, quite frankly, was a disaster area. So Aunt Enid, flying back from Heathrow out to Cape Town probably, or Joburg, would be sitting there quietly, all packed, ready with her little suitcase, sitting quietly in the lounge, just kind of a silent witness to G mother up. She never married, Aunt Enid. Patty, too, mother's sister, was the highly intelligent one. Mother was the strong one, my mother. Patty and the 2 brothers as well fought in the Second World War in their kilts, obviously on the Allies' side. But Patty was in Palestine, as then, the Holy Land, etc., driving 10, 20-ton trucks, and then she became a social worker in Cape Town. Also had a lovely voice, Patty, but she lost her man, so she never married either. But she was wonderful in keeping in touch with all. We've got relatives all over the show because of this. I don't know, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, I don't know. America, possibly, I'm not sure. Right, so that's enough rambling for the moment. Catch you later. Isn't this tree wonderful?